Let's get into the news tonight. Right off the bat, as we said, breaking tonight, just moments ago, Trump election case has been tossed after Special Counsel Jack Smith requests dismissal, citing categorical DOJ policy. The judge left open the highly unlikely possibility of a future prosecution. That ain't going to happen. But y'all, let's listen a little bit of ABC News here.
This is an ABC News special report.
Good afternoon. I'm Diane Macedo. We're coming on the air because ABC News has learned Special Counsel Jack Smith is officially moving to drop the January 6th election interference case against President-elect Trump. He's also expected to move to dismiss the classified documents case against Trump, possibly as early as today. Smith charged Trump last year with plotting to overturn the 2020 election and illegally storing classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. But the Department of Justice had signaled it will not prosecute a sitting president, and Jack Smith has said he plans to step down as special counsel before Trump takes office. During the campaign, Trump also said he would fire Smith and his entire team upon returning to the White House. Let's get right to ABC senior reporter Catherine Falders. Catherine, what's the latest?
So we've been reporting, of course, that Special Counsel Jack Smith was looking at the mechanisms in which he could wind down these two federal cases, the January 6th one and the classified documents one. So today, what we're learning through a filing that has just come out and posted on the court's docket, Diane, is that Jack Smith is asking the judge in a motion to dismiss, to essentially dismiss the case, that they are going to throw out this case. It's important to point out that Trump was facing 4 counts total here of conspiracy and obstruction. Now, they re-indicted him. They issued a superseding indictment, if you will, back in August after the Supreme Court ruled that Trump was essentially protected of those acts that they found official. So this was the August indictment with 4 counts he was facing. But what's important here is the special counsel signaled through court filings that they were going to consult with DOJ, with the Office of Legal Counsel within DOJ, to figure out and assess how they could move forward with both of these cases, given that Trump won the election. Now, they say here that through that consultation, that they believed that after careful consideration, and I want to read this, the department determined, DOJ determined, that prior opinions concerning the Constitution's prohibition on federal indictment and prosecution of a sitting president apply to this situation, given that Trump is president-elect. They said.
So the bottom line is it's over, and now the case in New York that he was going to be sentenced on, that he was supposedly found guilty of a felony, which was ridiculous, it's now been postponed almost indefinitely on the sentencing of it. And they have given permission for him to file for that to be thrown out. And in my opinion, I think that case is probably going to be thrown out as well. And so all this convicted felon will go away because he'll no longer be a convicted felon.
Is it not amazing how the pendulum has swung?
Oh, it's incredible.
It's like everything is beginning to go his way.
Yeah.
After all the horrors he's been through these past however many years.
Yeah, it is amazing. And, the old saying, and it's usually the Democrats say, hey, election has consequences. Well, let me tell you something. This election has had some consequences, and he ain't even in office yet.
Yes.
I mean, what are the consequences that are going to actually happen? What is he going to do, to some of these that have been using this lawfare and all these things against him? But y'all, he's got a mandate, and he's coming in. His entire, think about this, Sandy, right now, what is this, November 25th, so 20 days ago was the election.
Yes.
And so he was late in the night that night, early on the 6th, he was declared to be the president. He already, this is how different this is from 2016, he already has every single cabinet position filled, proposed. Every one. He didn't even have like a third of them by this time last time. And the only major office that's left to be filled is director of FBI. That's it.
Well, a lot of people attribute a lot of this to, is it Susie Wiles?
Yeah.
Working behind the scenes, and that she's such a machine, and maybe so.
Yeah.
But it is very enthusiastic in the very least to see what they are rolling out. And hopefully these will, get confirmed in it.
And breaking
happen.
news, Rachel says, Sandy, great hair day.
Oh, thank you.
So
You're so sweet.
So there you go.
Well, I see a lot of weather watchers in there talking about cold weather to our west. You can keep it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
enjoying this. We don't need 30 degrees, okay?
All right,
Or
so
storms.
trying to adjust this so everybody can see this because I want
Okay.
everybody to see what they're saying about your hair, Sandy. You know, you worry so much about your hair, but look at there. Look what people are saying about
Listen,
your hair.
Aquanet
Why is
is
it not staying up there?
it's doing its job tonight.
Aquanet. You ain't got no Aquanet.
There's no Aquanet.
Look how big this is.
What
I
is
got to
it?
get this.
Tracy.
What's going on? I don't know what's going on.
I don't
Forget
know, but we have a rogue fall tree in the back.
it. Yeah.
Just pretend you don't see that because I'm having to do the same right now.
Yeah, and hey, look, let me show you what I can do. Watch this.
What can you do? Are you leaving? Don't leave. Don't leave.
I don't want you to be tormented. Is that better? Is that better?
It is better.
Okay.
I hope that everybody else appreciates the effort.
And did you notice that I put Bigfoot behind you?
Bigfoot is behind us. Sasquatch right there.
Sasquatch, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to watch other shows to figure out why we have Bigfoot because
By the way, I hope you guys have caught that L.A. Marzulli episode.
Oh, yeah,
that
man.
He was a guest a few days ago.
that was fire.
Fire. If you have not seen that show already,
Yep.
go back and pick it up and watch it because that is quite
It was.
the interesting episode. And he has said he's coming back.
Yes, he loved the show. He loved being on the big picture. Very excited about it. So we are already planning his return,
Yep.
and then we're going to have a show where we're going to break it down. What are the Greys? What are the Nordics?
Oh, shut your mouth.
We're going to let
the
him.
Nordics, the tall.
Yeah.
Was it the tall whites?
The tall whites,
blondes,
the tall
whatever
blondes,
they're
yeah,
called.
yeah.
The Palladians.
Depends on what movie you're watching. All right, so one of the traditions here in our home that has really gone downhill, we talking about today, we love the Thanksgiving parade, the Macys Thanksgiving parade, but man, it has turned into a woke fest. And maybe because of the momentum that we're having, maybe it'll look a little different this year.
It's
Who
like
knows?
a 2-hour commercial for transgenderism.
It really is.
Right?
It really is.
Like,
and I'm hoping that this wokeism is
it's like
on
hide
its
the
way out.
kids. They don't need to watch this.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but look at this right here. This is very concerning. Terrorist experts are saying maybe eyeing Macy's Thanksgiving parade as
Yeah,
target.
go ahead and finish ruining it for all of us.
Exactly. More than 2 million people are reportedly expected to watch the parade with 10,000 participants. The annual Macy's Thanksgiving Parade in Manhattan is thought to be a potential target for foreign and international terror groups. ABC reported on Thursday, citing a joint threat assessment by the FBI and the New York Police Department. The threats posed to the United States' largest parade stems from lone offenders and small groups of individuals seeking to commit acts of violence. More than 2 million people are reportedly expected to watch the parade with 10,000 participants. While the United States gun laws have been the source of frequent discussions, officials believe that a ramming attack is the most likely mode of terrorism.
Are you serious?
A ramming attack.
And by the way, we had a little Thanksgiving trivia today, and in our trivia, it said that 3.5 million people come to the city to see the parade.
Wow.
Now, I don't know where they got the report of these numbers, but
that's
what
probably,
we used was vastly different than that number.
So a ramming attack is the most likely mode of terrorism as it has, quote, become a recurring tactic employed by threat actors. So basically, obviously, we're talking about a car trying to run over people.
Or a larger vehicle.
Larger vehicle, right. Though the 2024 Macy's Thanksgiving Parade event will provide a broad set of potential soft targets for an attack, congested areas where the largest amount of people gather, particularly designated viewing areas, are likely the most vulnerable spots for a mass casualty attack.
Wow.
So, I can see that. I can see that would be a potential attack there. It would be but here's what my mind goes immediately to is, you're talking about lone wolves and small organizations. Well, we've been talking about over a year now, almost 2 years now, about these groups that are coming across our border that have just been waiting to be activated, cells that are waiting to be activated, small groups. So we're going to pray in the name of Jesus that nothing happens. But from this point forward, and maybe things, once again, Trump's not the savior of the world, but it is going to be a different world with him at the helm. And maybe there's some kind of fear that might be instilled in the enemies of freedom looking at the consequences that may happen.
Well, how convenient. There are already a lot of newcomers in the city.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure all of them don't have happy thoughts in mind, and some of them may very well have evil plans. So, and come on, cannot be the first year that they were concerned or seriously concerned about some threat or other. But if they have some pretty good intelligence that they need to be worried about this specific threat, there's probably not the only threat that they have.
Yeah, well, then you factor in this. It says last year, pro-Palestinian protesters disrupted the parade. A group of about 20 pro-Palestinian protesters halted the parade for a few minutes after lining across 6th Avenue. Many of them wore tops emblazoned "Stop the Genocide" as they unfurled a banner saying "Free Palestine, land back, genocide then, genocide now." And I really do predict them trying a bigger Free Palestine protest as well. It's almost like the Antifa crowd and the protesters, the pro-Palestinian crowds and all this, it's like they got blindsided by this and they were planning on some kind of big stuff and they didn't get to do it right after the election. And I'm telling you right now, they're not just going away. They are plotting and planning something.
No, not at all, because guess what? They're funded. They're not just people with big ideas.
Right,
they got money behind them, backing them.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Exactly. And, of course, this week and I think in the last couple of weeks now, Trump went to the White House. He met with Biden. They had a good meeting. And then like the next week, Biden supposedly, we know it's not Biden, Biden released the Ukraine to fire deep inside of Russia. And then, of course, Russia retaliated with what do they call that missile that they used, the hypersonic missile that Putin said, just so you know, you do not have anything that can stop this. And this missile was capable. It's a nuclear warhead capable missile that had a non-nuclear warhead on it.
Thank God.
But we know that it is the first time that Russia has used that. That is a nuclear weapon type thing.
I mean, we are definitely moving into a different arena.
We really are. And so here's what happened. America did that, and then the United Kingdom come right after that and said, we give you permission too. Germany said, we give you permission too. So several EU, so they were waiting on America, and America did that. And we all know that that was not Joe Biden. Joe Biden was wandering into the rainforest at that time. He was skipping pictures. He was walking around a palm tree and missed the group picture.
Are you trying to say he was chasing butterflies or something?
He was chasing butterflies. He was, I listen, it's crazy. There's no way that he was involved in this decision.
How ridiculous. If you needed any evidence that the tide has turned and that there is a concerted effort to just either they don't care or they're working to allow or make our president look so weak because he went from the sharpest tool in the shed
right.
to we don't know where he is for the photo op.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you how the world is following quickly and have been waiting for this because the world wants World War III. The power struggles want World War III. So here we have now Lithuania has now voted to allocate a significant fund for deep strike weapons for Ukraine. Lithuania will soon transfer the first supply to support Ukraine's deep strike weapons. Ukraine Defense Minister and Lithuanian Defense Minister signed a memorandum on financing the production of Ukrainian long-range drones. Deep strike weapons are designed to strike the enemy on its territory using air and sea drones. The Lithuanian side is already working on finalizing bureaucratic procedures at the first tranche to be transferred in the near future. This is a long-term agreement under which funding 10 million euros has already been agreed, which is basically nothing compared to what we've been giving them. But Lithuania will use these funds to produce Ukrainian long-range weapons, including this Palestia project. In addition to signing the memorandum, the parties discussed key priorities for 25, training and equipping Ukrainian brigades, providing ammunition and air defense systems, and developing cooperation in the defense industry. So the bottom line is this: the world is shoring up war between Russia and Ukraine. They do not want it to go away. They do not want Trump to come in and stop this. So the whole world...
Keep this money train, money laundering going.
There's got to be more
in this
to it.
psychological operation going. And where is Lithuania, by the way, exactly?
I'm not exactly sure myself.
I
But
was just sitting here thinking, where is that on the map?
I think it's in the same area over there.
I know all of you out there know exactly where it is.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But let's continue. NATO and Ukraine are holding emergency talks after Russian hypersonic missile attack. Goes on to say NATO and Ukraine will hold emergency talks Tuesday after Russia attacked a central city with an experimental hypersonic ballistic missile that escalated the nearly 33-month-old war.
33. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. The conflict is entering a decisive phase. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk said, ain't that interesting? Donald Tusk, Donald Trump, taking on very dramatic dimensions. Ukraine's parliament canceled a session as security was tightened following Thursday's Russia strike on a military facility in the city of Dnipro. In a stark warning to the West, President Vladimir Putin said in a nationally televised speech that the attack with the intermediate-range Orishnik missile was in retaliation for the Kiev's use of U.S. and British longer-range missiles capable of striking deeper in Russian territory. Putin said Western air defenses would be powerless to stop the missile. Ukrainian military officials said the missile that hit Dnipro had reached a speed of Mach 11 and carried 6 non-nuclear warheads, each releasing 6 submunitions. Speaking Friday to military and weapons industries officials, Putin said Russia is launching production of the Orishnik. No one in the world has such weapons, he said, with a thin smile. Sooner or later, other leading countries will also get them. We are aware that they are under development, but he added, we have the system now, and this is important. Testing the missile will continue, including in combat, depending on the situation and the character of security threats created for Russia, Putin said, noting there is, quote, a stockpile of such systems ready to use. Putin said that while it isn't an intercontinental missile, it's so powerful that the use of several of them fitted with conventional warheads in one attack would be devastating as a strike with strategic or as a strike with strategic or even nuclear weapons. And then this, of course, here Breitbart London says Putin accuses the West of making. Listen, and I don't like Putin. I think he's not a good man. But I agree with him. And a lot of times what he's trying to say, he's trying to tell people, we don't want this. He says, accuses the West of making Ukraine war global. Claims Dnipro attack is unveiling as he unveils his new ballistic missile. Basically what he's going on saying is, y'all, I've had this. Yeah. I didn't have to use this, but you did this. You fired inside of me when probably the truth be known, he's already been talking to Trump. Trump's already been trying to work out a deal, and this administration does not want this deal. They want to lock us into this war.
Right. I think he's probably talked to Trump. And look, this is one instance where he has shown restraint. Look at these past however many months that he's shown restraint. Okay?
Yeah.
Look at what he could have already done way back.
Exactly.
Last year.
Oh, yeah. He could have finished this a long time ago.
I believe that. I believe he could have finished this war. I believe he could have attempted to put a strike on us, put a strike on another country. But he's shown restraint for whatever reason. Yeah, I do believe he's armed up. I do believe he's got, probably an arsenal. Maybe I hope that my country is holding something back. Maybe they've got something that we don't know about because, my goodness, we sure need it. Yeah,
absolutely. And I personally believe that Trump is working very, very hard behind the scenes. We don't know what he's doing right now. And I want to say again, and I think it's just not this super intelligent thing for me to say. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's on the big picture already knows what I'm about to say, but I want to remind you again, Joe Biden is not involved in this at all. He might be in a room. He might sign something. He is not negotiating this war. He has not been doing that for a long time. So here's the sickening thing, and this is why they hate Trump so much. There is a deep, you know what, this is what he calls it, and by the way, that's a word that gets flagged sometimes, so y'all know what I'm saying, the deep bait there. And those people are unnamed, they're faceless, but they are the power structure.
Yes.
They are literally the president of the United States. Listen, Kamala Harris is still on vacation. She lost the election and went to Hawaii. She's still on vacation. She disappeared. Joe Biden's wandering in the forest, and we are escalating World War III. Who is doing this?
We are. Now, listen. It's not over. It's not January 20th yet. There's still time for some.
God, can it hurry up and be
I
January
know.
20th?
I think there's still a little time for some misbehavior.
Yes,
and
yes.
I told you, okay, is she on vacation or is she away being prepped for something?
True.
You know, that's
True.
nobody wants to see that happen. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to see that move being made. But it is definitely dire times, and we don't make a lot of good decisions here.
No, you remember the guy that was that gave George W. Bush a lot of fits about the weapons of mass destruction. He was the first one that came and said, "Look, there's no such thing as weapons of mass destruction." Called him out, and he became enemy number one of the Republican side. And I particularly do not really care for this guy because I've watched some of his stuff, and I don't like some of the things he says. But he's considered to be an expert when it comes to war. Scott Ritter. And Scott Ritter is now saying this: the world is very close to a point of no return. Russia's new Orishnik missile is what?
Orishnik.
Did I say it right? I thought I said Orishnik.
No, I'm just saying it to myself
yeah.
because I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Yeah, and I wish I knew what that meant, what it was translated to, Orishnik, because, they name things for a reason. Missile is qualitative advancement, showing that Moscow is ready to mirror any Western escalation, the former UN weapons inspector has said. Russia's strike on the Ukrainian defense industrial facility using a new hypersonic ballistic missile system has shown the West that a policy of further escalation will lead to devastating consequences, Scott Ritter has said. America's recklessness in dealing with Russia, as well as underestimating Moscow's readiness to respond, has already brought the world dangerously close to an all-out nuclear war, the former U.S. Marine officer claimed on the Judging Freedom YouTube show. Earlier in the day, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that the country's military successfully hit the Ukrainian target with this new intermediate-range ballistic missile called the Oreshnik. And, of course, we know that we've already covered this was as a response to what had been released from America and the UK. But I want to show you over the next couple of articles here how the world are saying systematically. It's like countries around the world, experts, military generals, they're all saying the same thing. We are either in or we are about to be in World War III.
How close are we on that clock now?
I mean, we're like 11:59 and 56 seconds. Okay, y'all. We're as close.
I was about to say 3 seconds left.
Yeah,
That's what it feels like.
So look at this, because while this is happening, watch what's happening here. Zakaria, this is one of the experts here is talking, says Russia, listen to the title here, y'all. This is amazing that people are saying this. Russia, China, and North Korea are now closer in their relationship militarily and their axis, if you will, than Germany and Japan were in World War II. Friday's broadcast of CNN's Out Front, Washington Post columnist and CNN host Fareed Zakaria stated that Russia is getting help from China, North Korea, and Iran. The axis of Russia, China, and North Korea, they're collaborating more than the Japanese and Germans did during World War II. Zakaria said that he's not sure that he would describe things as World War III, but, quote, I think it's fair to say that you know that you now have the outlines of a global coalition. The Russians are being actively assisted by the Chinese, by the North Koreans, by the Iranians. And Ukraine, of course, has the support of a very large cohort of Western and significant non-Western countries. So if you think of it in those terms, this is a struggle limited in one place, but the coalitions are global. If you think about the axis of Russia, China, and North Korea, they're collaborating more than the Japanese and the Germans did in World War II. So yeah, there is a global dimension to it. though I don't think it's a war in that sense that it's not going all over the world. I disagree.
Billy and Jesus Freak are saying that orishnik means hazelnut, hazel, or hazel tree. So we need to look into that deeper.
Yeah.
And see
That
how
is
that
interesting.
ties. But that is interesting.
Yeah. Maybe,
And this
maybe
whole
because it spreads too. Maybe it spreads.
expanded axis of evil thing that's going on, and what you said, that they're working more closely together, I guess, essentially, to sum it up, it's pretty disturbing.
It's very disturbing, yes.
We weren't alive when Germany and Japan were planning all of their attacks and carrying out all of their attacks, and basically they had this grand plan to take over both of our coasts, right?
Yes.
They all had, they each had their goals and agendas. Of course, we know how that turned out, but that was really messy.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine coalitions forming larger and worse than that.
No, but they're happening. And so listen to what NATO is saying, and different other people are saying. Get ready for a wartime scenario in Europe, and be wary of Russia and China. Top NATO officer
And this
warns.
is Daily Mail. Who's Breitbart?
This is Breitbart. So this is NATO saying this now. So Europeans must be ready to sacrifice some luxuries to pay to support Ukraine and prevent a, quote, wartime scenario coming to the nations of the continent if they are insufficiently prepared. NATO's most senior military officer said in a speech, name-checking both Russia and China as threats. NATO's Admiral Rob Beyer, the Dutch naval officer who is the chair of the NATO Military Committee, addressed a conference of the European Policy Center think tank on Monday. And while asserting the alliance is more ready now than, quote, it's ever been, delivered a somewhat pessimistic message of the need for preparedness for conflict. In a speech aimed at businesses across the alliance, the Admiral outlined that businesses had to be ready for war. We've never in our lifetime heard this kind of vocabulary.
No.
NATO.
Okay, to go back to World War I, and
Yeah.
we know that
Yeah.
businesses sacrificed,
Right.
and they retrofitted, factories and all of this. And we had even the women playing a part. Rosie the Riveter became, renowned for
right.
women who were contributing for the war effort.
Right.
But no, in our lifetime, in this country, in our lifetime, no, I've never heard language. So
No.
obviously this is in Europe.
Yeah.
I would love to know exactly what they mean.
Yeah. So you're talking about NATO, and remember, we're trying to put Ukraine in NATO, and that's the red line for Putin. Putin has said,
Yes.
you put them in NATO, you're declaring war against me.
Mm-hmm.
All of NATO is declaring war against me. And let's not forget the NATO charter.
Yeah.
You fire on one, you fire on all.
Yes.
So that means we have to come to their defense. So the chairman of NATO, the admiral of NATO, is not talking to the military. He's talking to businesses. Let's go back and finish this. It says he outlined that businesses had to be ready for war right now. But by improving their readiness, they also reduce the likelihood of future fighting by improving NATO's level of deterrence. The scale of spending needed, it's all about money, y'all. The scale of spending needed to keep the peace in Europe is such that ordinary people will feel the punch in the pocketbook, Admiral Beyer said, calling on politicians to provide strong leadership to make the case that is necessary to voters. He said, quote, if you ramp up your deterrence and if you ramp up support to Ukraine, there will be less money to spend on other things. It will take away from some of our luxuries. It will require sacrifice. Y'all, I'm telling you, this is making my blood boil, because what they're saying is, you need to understand, you're not going to get to go on a vacation because we need that money for Ukraine. You're not going to get to build that house that you was ready to build because we need you to sacrifice because we need to keep this war going in Ukraine. That is literally what this man just said.
This war that, at least in our country, we still never see or hear anybody talk about.
It's true.
I don't know what kind of coverage it gets in Europe and these other countries, but how would you feel if the coverage if it is the same, the reporting, and then you have someone come out and tell you you're not giving enough, you're not sacrificing, you're going to have to dig a lot deeper for this war effort.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes. Well, let us continue. World War III fears. Now let's get into this as nuclear. Y'all, this is what changed in a matter of weeks.
Yes.
The talk went from, is this thing going to wind down? Is Trump going to wind it down? He says he's going to solve it in 24 hours. Can he even do that? Now we're talking nuclear. Everybody's talking nuclear. WW3 fears as nuclear warning from, listen, U.S. government highlights area 15 minutes from disaster. Yeah. This slipped in. A lot of y'all don't even know about this. The United States FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, has issued a chilling guide on how to survive a nuclear attack as global tensions rise amid the conflict in Ukraine and Middle Eastern disputes grow more heated. It says as the tensions mount, they released this guide for a nuclear attack, and it says echoing Cold War preparedness, our childhood. Yes. The agency's updated advice aims to shield Americans from the horrors of a nuclear explosion. A nuclear simulation grimly tallies the death toll should Russia target Washington, D.C. with a nuke. The numbers are staggering. FEMA's somber instructions are stark. Quote, this came out this week, y'all. FEMA released this week, and nobody's talking about it, but it's on their website. Nuclear explosions can cause significant damage and casualties from blast, heat, and radiation, but you can keep your family safe by knowing what to do and be prepared if it occurs, underscoring the critical nature of this survival, this knowledge of survival. Y'all, our FEMA released this week instructions on how to survive a nuclear attack.
Does it involve plastic sheeting and duct tape?
Oh, of course it does. Yeah.
You know, that seems very familiar. I think a comparison would be probably get under your desk in the 1950s.
Oh, which was ridiculous.
Which is nothing.
Yeah.
That was just something to mentally help you think that you had something to hold on to give you some hope. Because if you're downwind, guess what?
Yeah.
Radiation is brutal. Brutal.
But here's my thing is why would they fearmonger, whatever you want to, in America about nuclear attacks against us if they are not trying to ramp up, at the very least, a narrative of fear that we can't get out of Ukraine, because if we get out of Ukraine, Russia's going to be so empowered that they're going to launch a nuclear attack and take over America. That's what this is about. But then you factor this, Sandy, and watch this. This is being unreported. This should be everywhere. Biden regime actually discussed giving Ukraine nuclear weapons. Joe Biden and his handlers are moving quickly to ignite World War III before Christmas and before President Trump can be inaugurated and bring peace to the region. Last Sunday, many of you have not heard this anywhere. Last Sunday, Joe Biden's regime approved Ukraine's use of U.S.-made long-range missiles to strike deep inside Russia. The Washington Post, who is not friendly to Trump, this is a liberal paper, whatever, reported that Biden will allow Ukraine to have a powerful American long-range weapon that strikes inside Russia, supposedly in response to North Korea's recent aid to Russia in the form of thousands of troops. Ukraine will specifically allowed to use the Army tactical missiles, ATACMS, to hit targets inside Russia. As the Post noted, ATACMS is a supersonic guided missile system that can be used with either cluster munitions or conventional warheads. It has a maximum range of 190 miles. Now watch this. The Post elaborates that Ukraine is expected to focus on and around the Kursk region at first, but could expand its targets. On Tuesday, Ukraine fixed 6 U.S.-made long-range missiles inside Russia. The first Ukrainian strike targeted the border region of Bryansk in Russia. According to BRICS News, 5 missiles were shot down. Putin, following reports of this decision to give Ukraine permission to long-range missiles, we've already covered that, but watch this. On Wednesday morning, Joe Biden approved anti-personnel land mines for Ukraine, undoing his previous policy. On Thursday, unleashed the Orensnik hypersonic missile on Ukraine. Russian leader Putin told reporters after the strike, "No, our system can stop this." And Putin mentioned on Friday that Russia has supplies of these missiles for future strikes. On Monday, news broke that the U.S. had actually discussed giving Ukraine nuclear weapons in recent closed meetings. It's hard to believe you're the good guys when you are passing out nukes to desperate regimes.
Yes.
According to the New York Times, U.S. and European officials have discussed a range of options they believe that will deter Russia from taking more Ukrainian territory, including providing Kiev with nuclear weapons. The outlet reports that Western officials believe the Kremlin will not significantly escalate the war before Donald Trump is sworn in as president. Following the election of Trump, the U.S. and its NATO allies began taking steps to rush weapons to Ukraine and give Kiev the ability to strike targets inside of Russia. So U.S. spy agencies, blah, blah, blah. But the key thing here is that on Monday, it came out, according to the New York Times, that the United States and European officials have actually discussed as a deterrent providing nuclear weapons to Ukraine.
This is language that you almost can't believe you're hearing this.
Absolutely.
This is crazy. And I think Lisa 205 had a good comment. Maybe that's why they passed out all those satellite phones to
good point.
To
the senators
and congressmen. But surely this will not happen.
Yeah,
because
you think so.
Come on.
It's got to be it's got to be hype.
It's got to be hype.
I mean, you just can't. But look, you know what we've all learned? Let's go back to what we said earlier in the program. Joe Biden's not the president.
He's not the president.
So these people are desperate. They are desperate, and desperate people, when they're cornered.
You never would have believed back in February or March of 2022 that we would have given, is it over 200
billion
to this point
that we know of.
And we're still sending money. It's just the weirdest and most terrible thing.
Yeah.
You would think just hearing that this is being considered, that Putin would be irate.
Yeah, exactly.
Irate.
Exactly. And look, we are not pro-Russia. We are not pro-Putin. But you got to understand where the guy's coming from. Now, I'm not talking about that he invaded a sovereign country. I'm talking about that whatever the reason is behind all that, he understands this. Yeah. Ukraine was never about just Ukraine trying to be Ukraine. The whole world, BlackRock, all of these are behind Ukraine. Yes. The whole world, and just like in North Carolina, we're going to cover that in just a minute too, the minerals and the things are in it. Ukraine is not just the breadbasket of Europe and the world, but there are also multiple mines and precious elements and minerals that are there. It's about the money. I mean, just this week, what's his name from South Carolina, the Republican Senator Rhino, what's his name? That's always from South Carolina. Come on, he's a warmonger. I figured you'd know right off the bat. I can't.
Billy, help us out.
I can see his face, but he come out this week and said Ukraine is going to make us wealthy. Our South Carolina senator said we have to finish this because Ukraine is going to make America wealthy.
Okay, how are they going to do that?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to show up in just a minute.
This is what I would love. So you talk about it's the breadbasket. We've heard that for so long. The natural resources that are there. You talk about these different corporations that are there. The fact that
Lindsey Graham.
Yeah. Oh, Lindsey Graham-nesty. This is what I would really love to know. I would love to have a guest on that could do a deep dive, not only into what is in this country, but who is in this country? Who are these people, the Ukrainians? Are they part of any kind of ancient sect of people, a bloodline that goes way, way back? I would love a deep dive on that.
I know where you're going, and I know what you're thinking. and I know what you want to say.
I'm not going to say what I want to say.
I know that. But all I can say is this.
And not only what's above ground, but hey, not in the way of natural resources, but what else is actually underground over there?
Well, first of all, we know that it came out. They didn't want it to be leaked, but it came out that there are major bioweapons labs there. We know that. Number two, this is all we're going to say, and you can do your own research. We went to the Holocaust Museum.
Yes.
And in the Holocaust Museum that no one had ever told us about, there is an entire section on Ukraine.
I'll tell you this.
That's all I'm going to say.
I stepped 10 feet inside that Holocaust Museum, and I started looking around at the architecture and symbology and different things, and I said to you,
"Hey, Mike Signorelli's in the house.
Mike Signorelli, Papa Sig!
Papa Sig is in the house."
I looked around, and I said to you, it wouldn't surprise me if this place was funded by the Rothschild.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, and it wasn't 10 more feet. We found a monument that had their name on it as either solely responsible for building this museum, or that they were big contributors to this museum. I mean, it's
crazy.
Oh, it's crazy.
And there's so much we can say, but we can't say it because we get flagged. But look, we're talking about Germany. We're talking about when you talk about what the supporters of Trump were called. Remember that? Well, they had a whole section there, and I'm not saying that all people in Ukraine are that, but this whole section. I'll just say the term Nazis that were there because we know what the Holocaust Museum is about.
Yes.
There was a whole section there about the history of that belief system and Ukraine. We were very shocked on that. Okay, let me show you this. Speaking of Germany, this is how the whole world is preparing their people. Germany is beginning to draw up lists of bunkers amidst Russia's tension. They have an app planned for their public. Our public, our FEMA just started telling us how to prepare for nuclear war. Now Germany is saying you can download this app, find emergency shelters and places to go underground in train stations and car parks. It's drawing up a list of bunkers that could provide shelters for this in the event of an attack from Russia. The list would include underground train stations, car parks, as well as state buildings, private properties, ministry spokesperson. A digital directory of bunkers and emergency shelters will be drawn up so people can find them quickly in the event of an attack. Now, whether they really have intelligence that Russia is planning on to expand beyond Ukraine, the narrative is being ramped up all over the world. We have to stop them in Ukraine or they're coming after you. And Donald Trump is over there saying, that ain't what's happening. We're going to work out a deal here. We're going to take some troops there. We're going to have a demilitarized zone there. And Putin can go do his thing. Ukraine can do their thing. But the world don't want that. And you got to keep asking the question, why? What is really at play here?
I know.
And I'm so excited that Papa Sig is in the house. We love you, Papa Sig.
So
I'll just go ahead and do this for you, Papa Sig. If you're still watching.
Yay. And I just want to go ahead and say, Papa Sig, hope you have a great Thanksgiving week with your family and friends. Sending love your way.
And if y'all don't know who Mike Signorelli is, look him up and follow his channel. He is a powerful man of God.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Go.
So I do believe overall relations can be improved, or at least I'm hoping they can under President Trump. But how do we really come together? Or, Russia's going their own way. Yeah. They're all about BRICS.
Yeah, right.
And here we are trying to hold it together, and we're not going to be part of BRICS.
No.
What is that going to look like for us 2 years, 5 years from now?
Not only is all this ramping up with World War III and now nuclear war talk and all this, but so much happens so fast now, we forget big things that are happening. You just brought up BRICS. BRICS is huge, y'all.
We should have just a running list so we can always flash it up for you
We should have like a tally that just runs constantly. Yes. Don't forget this. Don't forget this while we're talking. That just runs automatically. Because BRICS is huge. And so major countries are going into BRICS. The dollar is being turned away from.
Oh my goodness!
The dollar is losing its power. They're going to the
but the Dow is. I told you the other day, over 44,000. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I was walking through the house and it was 44,000 something. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
All right, so in addition to that, look what Ricky is reporting on End Time Headlines. Our great friend Ricky Scapera, we love him so much and thank for all his hard work.
Yes.
But he shares UK and France are in talks to deploy troops to Ukraine in fear of U.S. withdrawing support. Britain and France are in talks to send troops to Ukraine to deter Vladimir Putin. It has emerged. London and Paris want to create, quote, a core of allies in Europe as fears intensify that President-elect Donald Trump will withdraw military support for Ukraine. British and French troops could be among European allies deployed to deter the Kremlin from attacking Ukraine again. And they could train Ukrainian forces similar to how they did before Moscow ordered a full-scale invasion on Ukraine, a British military source says. Discussions are underway between the UK and France regarding defense cooperation, particularly in the aim of creating a core ally in Europe focused in Ukraine and broader European. So now you're talking about we're sending them long-range missiles that can go into, and Delane is saying Bitcoin is now at 100,000, that they can fire in deep side of Russia. Now we're talking about potentially giving Ukraine nuclear weapons, and now you have UK and France saying, we see you, you got North Korean troops, we'll up you with our troops. Now all this time they kept saying, we got to send them money so we don't have to send them people.
Exactly.
Now we're saying we're sending money, we're sending nuclear weapons, and we're sending people.
All
what is
three.
really in Ukraine, y'all?
Exactly.
My mind's about to explode here.
While we still don't have a death toll.
Yeah, that's right.
An accurate
When is the
one.
last time you heard a death toll?
I could not even tell you when. I couldn't tell you when. And how many months has it been since we did the stories? They're apprehending men and people on the streets and enlisting them.
Right, yeah.
There
Older
are
people.
Old senior citizens.
Yeah.
There are deserters. People are running away. I mean, that first wave of people that just left the country, and they went to Poland or wherever, they knew they already knew what the handwriting on the wall was.
Yep.
They knew there's going to be forced enlistment. This place is going to go crazy here. We're not safe. We're just going to get out now.
Yeah. Let me do something.
Do it. Do it.
I think your mic's got a headset.
Do it. Thanks, babe.
There we go. I think we got it. All right, so let's go here. Not making headlines. Once again, these are things that are happening nobody's talking about. China just fired missiles over Guam on election day.
And we're just now hearing about this?
Just now hearing about it.
What?
Y'all, this is what I'm talking about. There's things going on all over the world when it comes to war.
This is almost 3 weeks old news?
Yeah. And it wasn't the first time that they fired missiles at America's most strategic position in the Pacific last month. Y'all hearing me? Since September of 24, China has launched multiple intermediate range ballistic missiles over America's most strategic position in the Pacific, Guam. These weren't random missile exercises. They were deliberately aimed at U.S. territory. Oddly, no one talked about it then, and no one is talking about it now. That's exactly how China wants it.
Going to have to interrupt you and award tonight's golden chicken.
That
stinks.
That stinks.
What in the world?
What in the world? 2 statements released from the Homeland Security and Civil Defense just happened to just sort of haphazardly mention it, that, this had happened. Says the consequences, if we ceded the Pacific to China, the Western Hemisphere's economic engine would be dominated by China, and we could start seeing Mandarin writing on U.S. road signs within 5 years. It goes on to say that on November 5th, Election Day, y'all, China launched another missile over Guam on Election Day back home in America. Was absolutely no coincidence. This was an intimidation. Has anyone, I want to know in the live chat in the country, has anyone heard this before tonight? Anyone? Has anyone heard this? This is insane, y'all. The world is, what are they hiding from us? If we're just finding out a month later that they've been doing this, actually since September, it said. Since September, they've been doing this.
I propose that we take up a collection and send someone over there. I think this is the only way this is going to be solved or
As
answered.
an embedded reporter?
Well, I don't know.
I ain't
You can
going.
call him embedded reporter, whatever you want to call him.
I ain't going.
Somebody needs to go over there and report back to us.
Let's-
Dogecoin,
All right, so
41. Mm-hmm.
All right, so when I come back in 30 seconds, we're going to go into Israel because let's not forget, World War III involves big time the Middle East, and that is about to blow up on another level, y'all. If you want to partner with us and help us, here's how.
Would you like to help us build the big picture family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Let's go back into the news. Thank you to all of our partners, by the way.
Yes.
And thank you to everybody that has smashed that like button. If you have not smashed that like button, smash it, smash it, smash it. Because that helps us tremendously. Don't cost you anything. And we love you. We appreciate you when you do that. But watch this. There's supposedly, there's a report coming out that Lebanon's ceasefire is maybe imminent. And I believe you're going to start hearing ceasefire a lot because I think the world is like, okay, new sheriff in town, what can we do? But the attacks have been intensifying. The Israeli government has reportedly agreed to the outlines of a U.S. proposal for a ceasefire with Hezbollah, to which the Lebanese government has also largely agreed, according to several reports in Israeli media on Monday. Under the deal, Hezbollah would agree to move north of the Litani River and away from the Israeli border in compliance with the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701 of 2006. In addition, Barak Ravid of Axios reports the draft agreement includes a U.S.-led oversight committee to monitor implementation and address violation. The U.S. has agreed to give Israel a letter of assurances that includes support for Israeli military action against the imminent threats from Lebanese territory and for action to disrupt these things in the reestablishment of a Hezbollah military presence near the border or the smuggling of heavy weapons. Under the agreement, Israel would take such action after consultations with the U.S. and if Lebanese military did not deal with the threat. The conditions outlined above appear to deal with the major sticking point in the negotiations, which was Israeli freedom of action to confront Hezbollah if the terrorist group decided to attack Israeli towns near the border again. And of course, they began to trade blows again. It seems that there are, in fact, there's our next report is that they have unleashed a major barrage of missiles. So who knows if that's going to happen? But one of the things that Netanyahu is saying and Israel is saying is that we're not agreeing to anything unless you go far enough away that we know your missiles cannot reach, because a lot of people don't talk about the fact that on that northern border, thousands of Israelis have not been living in their home for over a year. They were evacuated. So they're living with family or in shelters, and there's homes along that line that it's not safe for them to live there. So Israel is saying there is no agreement unless our people get to go back to their homes inside Israel territory on the border of Lebanon. But I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but there are huge things that are happening in Israel. And, the Bible tells us to keep our eye on Israel because it's the fig tree, to watch it as it blooms. And it says, when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come upon them as travaileth upon a woman in labor. And when you start seeing negotiations for peace and all of this, just understand that there's never really going to be peace in Israel until Jesus comes back.
Agree with that.
All right, so here in our country, we've got a couple of things going on here that's big, big, big. The Trump border czar, I like this guy, Tom Homan. He plans a PR. See, they're coming in different this time. They're coming in with a whole new idea on how we're going to do this. They were blindsided last time. They didn't, quite frankly, Trump's team didn't even think they were going to win, and they were not ready. But they're ready now. Tom Homan plans a PR war over immigration and reparations. It says, a secure border saves lives, not just for our citizens, but of migrants themselves. That message must be broadcast widely because President-elect Donald Trump's deputies must keep the trust of the American people as they enforce the nation's popular migration laws. We will be very transparent, Holman said. We'll be sending out a lot of information out every week, and I love this, on exactly what we are doing. We will do a lot of videos, a lot of interviews. We need to control the narrative so we keep the trust of the American people.
That's a far cry from the language we've heard over how many years now?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can pull that off. And you know, there's a lot of reports. There's already a lot of self-deportation happening. People are already going back across the border.
Did we play clips of his big press conference? I mean, I certainly watched it. I can't remember how much, if we played any of it here, but a lot of strong language and a lot of, well, you can make that decision on your own, or we'll be glad to help you out.
And he's bold. You know, they're saying, how are you going to keep from separating children from their parents? He said, I'm just going to deport the whole family. Yeah. He's like that. I don't want to.
You haven't heard that before.
Yeah. He said, I don't want to split up families. You know. And by the way, one of the things that people are in other countries are telling their people that are in our country illegally. I saw this report. They're sending messages saying, get out now, because and a lot of people don't know this, if they are deported, they, at the minimum, no matter if they committed any other crimes, they can't come back in for 10 years. And if they committed a crime and they get deported, if they want to come back legally, they are permanently banned from coming back. But if they go back, they have the right then to come back across legally. But they're saying, hey, look, if you ever want to go back to America, come home now. So this is already beginning to work in self-deportation. And we'll see what's happening.
We'll see, exactly.
I mean, they're closing down shelters in New York City. They're closing down in a lot of these major cities where they're housing and paying money. They're closing a lot of these down and saying you're on your own. Things are already beginning because they believe he's very serious about what he's doing. So let's talk about North Carolina real quick because we don't need to forget them.
No,
this is a disaster that was a major disaster already happening, but it's getting worse, y'all, because winter is upon us. So let's talk about this. This is what's being reported now on the ground in North Carolina and around Georgia and all those that were affected. Major cold blast is hitting the Helene-ravaged North Carolina with families living in tents and cars amid FEMA disaster. The article goes on to say that nearly 2 months after Hurricane Helene devastated western North Carolina, the controversy surrounding FEMA's botched response could have been avoided if the federal agency had apolitical managers overseeing operations and had not diverted funds for illegal aliens. With winter looming over the Appalachian region, at least 1,000 people, some of them are children, are still living in temporary housing, such as tents. American victims of Hurricane Helene are now being forced to live in donated tents. Look at this. During freezing temperatures in North Carolina, while the federal government pays for illegal immigrants to live in hotels.
To parts of western North Carolina seeing their first winter weather of the season. But many of the areas seeing snow have not fully recovered from Hurricane Helene, and the conditions that people are living in, well, let's just say less than optimal. Steve Harrigan on the ground at Swannanoa, North Carolina, just east of Asheville with the latest. Steve?
John, first snowstorm here underway, and these freezing temperatures really the last thing people in western North Carolina needed. If you see here,
thank you for that super chat, Julie. Wow.
Homes, those floors were torn out by the storm Helene 8 weeks ago. They were moved to hotels by FEMA. Those hotel vouchers for many people have run out, and now they are in tents after 8 weeks after this storm. And for families with small children, it is not an easy transition.
It's awful, especially with your kids. It feels like you're really letting them down. It's really cold. It's very uncomfortable.
Unreal. Goodness. But I want to show
a lot of people here of all.
I wanted you to see that, but this is what I really want you to see. This video right here. This is unbelievable. This is not only heartbreaking. This is infuriating. Yeah. This was Operation Hilo founder, and director. This is one of the guys and one of the main guys that was coordinating all the helicopters, the volunteer helicopters, trying to go in and get supplies that were basically threatened to be arrested by FEMA. But I want you to hear, he was interviewed this week from Fox News about the conditions and what he is having to go through, his people in FEMA. This is unbelievable.
So here's what we got. The floodplain has, this is a 1,000-year flood. So the topographical map shows, Ezra maps show the floodplain lines. Well, there is rules in place. I spoke with the state fire marshal an hour ago to get some clarity. There's rules in place that say that you can't put these trailers on floodplain property. Well, everything up there is now considered floodplain. And what a lot of people don't understand is the rivers that were 100 foot wide, now they're 600 foot wide in some places. So people not only lost their homes, but they lost the land that their homes were on. It's down to bedrock. So it expands out the area to which you can't put these trailers. So that's why, the route that we have chosen to go, these small temporary trailers, they can be moved around. It's not the best and it's not permanent, but yeah, I mean, if somebody could, somebody in the government could say, hey, we're going to lift these temporary restrictions right now and let this be, man, it could get a lot of people out of the cold right now instantly.
Yeah, because a lot of those people are living in tents, right?
It is heartbreaking. We delivered a tent to a lady, me and my co-founder, Eric Robinson, delivered a tent 2 weeks ago. Delivered a camper to a lady 2 weeks ago. Her and her daughters were living in a tent, and she literally was fending off a bear attack the night before.
Wow. Because
they had food in their tent. This is no joke, man. This is somebody needs to, people are in the government are so out of touch with what's going on up there. If they would just put their mud boots on and go up there and walk around, if it was their mother and daughter, they would have a change of heart.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And that says nothing for the people who say they're having their children taken from them.
Wow.
And they don't know how they're going to get them back because they're being taken because they're told that you can't provide proper housing. Well, of course they can't provide proper housing. Their house is gone. There's no electricity. There's no running water. Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem. And another video that I saw earlier that I thought I had, but I don't have with us tonight, you can probably find somebody talking about it, is they brought in these tiny houses and volunteers, not FEMA, brought in these, about 100 of them and brought them in. And people were living in these tiny houses and they had solar power and they was having a little bit of power there and they were having some kind of something to live in on their land. Well, guess what FEMA did? They came in and they condemned these houses because they said they didn't meet the code. So it's like, unbelievable. Unbelievable. You got tents. You're going to say, okay, we're going to let you live in a tent, but we're not going to let you live in this tiny house because this tiny house does not meet code.
I'd like to do an investigation on just how much money and power FEMA has.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we'd probably be shocked.
Yeah, and think about this. FEMA admitted when this happened that they did not have enough money to handle this and another hurricane when that other one was going to come in. What was it called? Milton. Milton, right? Is that the one that broke up right before it hit?
I think so.
Okay. I think it is.
It's
yeah.
so
Yeah, I think Milton was the one
it's
that was.
hard to keep up with all of this.
So they said, we don't know if we can handle another hurricane, and they had to admit because they had allotted so much of, watch this now, federal emergency management money to house the illegal aliens in the hotels and feed them, and their debit cards and their cell phones. Y'all, that is not an emergency management association. No. That is,
when they did that,
funding
was
criminals.
Such a huge expenditure. Yeah. And their power is far-reaching as well.
It is. And, and that's why they don't like who they got coming in that's wanting to run this. Yeah. I mean, the people that Trump has nominated.
Wait till that Department of Governmental Efficiency kicks in.
Exactly.
Woo!
Those $1 million studies of how cocaine affects birds and mice or whatever is going to be gone. But yeah, this y'all, it is sickening. And if the Doge group doesn't do anything, I think they're going to be able to do something.
I hope so.
But if nothing
else, they're shaking it up.
That's what I'm saying. If they don't do anything but tell us, what they found. If they can't even stop it, and I hope they can stop a lot of it, but if they can just document and show the American people where billions of dollars are going every year that we have never been told about, that would be a win for me. Now, the big win would be that they actually cut these things and expose them to the point. But y'all, our government is spending so much money on things that doesn't matter, as my mama would say, a hill of beans.
Hill of beans.
Doesn't matter, hill of beans. Y'all, this wokeism, y'all, I'm hoping for Thanksgiving, y'all. I'm hoping for a true parade. And by the way, we have a young man in our church that just graduated military academy, their initial training, boot camp, and he's a Marine. And he came out of the Marines, and I hope I'm not getting in trouble for saying this because I don't want to get him in trouble, but he said something about, y'all, I was honored to be a Marine, but this is not the Marines that I thought I was joining, because I was ready for the drill sergeants to be screaming at me and disciplining me and all this. They get in trouble now. And they told a story about one drill sergeant who put a little bit of dirt in somebody's hat and got disciplined for it. And it's like, we have become this woke military, this woke nation. And look at this. Donald Trump just comes in and just says, you know what, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm going to kick out all transgender soldiers out of the U.S. military and ban them outright. They are coming unglued over this, y'all. Y'all know how this is. I just got in trouble for even saying this, okay, on this channel, okay, because they don't like you saying this. But look at this. The unprecedented executive order will be launched on the first day back in the White House on January 20th. Experts suggest that will mean over 15,000 active service personnel who are transgender. So we got 15,000 that are actively dressing up as someone else. Donald Trump is planning to kick out all of them, it is being claimed, would launch on this first day on January 20th. This would be given a special medical discharge, which would determine them unfit to serve in the U.S. military. Trump is also expected to go one further and issue an outright ban of these confused people joining the military at a time when many U.S. Army branches are struggling to hit recruitment targets. The incoming U.S. president has slated that what he claims are woke military practices and suggested that some top brasses are often more concerned about diversity, equality, and inclusion than fighting. What was it Rush Limbaugh used to say about our military? Our military is designed to
destroy, kill people and destroy things.
Kill people and destroy things. That was back in the day when it would be, just handing out food and all this. He goes, I know that's good, but these guys did not go through their SEAL team training to hand out a sandwich. No. They're trained to kill people and break down things, destroy things. And so there we are. So do you think he would be able to pull that off, or you think they'd come after him? Because that's like a protected group right now.
If they didn't have any reason, and I think they do, to want him DEAD, that one will do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I'm telling y'all that this is a protected group. It's a small, finite number of people.
Yes.
But yet they have so much power. There is something going on there, and now we're beginning to find out, and boy, I don't want to go there and get really flagged, but a certain person, a certain rapper who's in jail right now,
right,
and all the things that's coming out with the ritualistic things that you and I have talked about that they're forced through. Now we're finding out why there's so much on this agenda, because that's a part of that dark ritualistic thing.
It is a huge integral part of it's not just the lifestyle, it's the whole mechanism. It's that whole culture and mechanism.
What do you call it? The embarrassment, the shame. What is it? The ritual where they have to put on a dress or they have to be embarrassed. I can't remember the term that you use on that. Where they have to be shamed publicly, all that kind of stuff. And am I saying that right? Or
it is some sort of ritual, and I can't remember the term either at this moment. But that's a small part of this.
Yeah, it is.
Dark underbelly of this beast. So
it is. Boy, it's a good word, beast. Yeah. Because this is a part of the beast system.
I believe that.
But one of the things that's got him upset too is some of the people that he picked that are not your Orthodox Republicans. They still can't believe that RFK Jr. is now going to be in staff, and
Right.
Maha, make America healthy again. The Maha chairman, RFK Jr.
Humiliation ritual.
Yeah, humiliation ritual. That's what I was trying to say.
Thanks.
Now watch this. Big food lobbyists are discussing how to undermine RFK Jr.'s push for healthier America. I did a meme that I shared. This guy is so funny. His channel's called Chad Life, and he's just him and his wife are hilarious. And he's in the car and he's just caressing these little Debbie snack cakes. That's the Christmas trees. He's like, "Hello, stranger, my old friend." That's the song. He goes, "I'm enjoying my yellow number 5, red number 10, and all these chemicals before RFK takes them away from him." And he's just crying, holding his little Christmas tree cakes. And I'm like, "I feel you, brother."
Your Christmas tree cakes.
But this is real, y'all. They are torn. They cannot believe that somebody's going to try to come and take away their money chain there. Lobbyists for the food and agriculture industries are working overtime to undermine RFK Jr.'s push for a healthier America. RFK Jr., a former consumer rights attorney and outspoken critic of processed foods and additives, has been unapologetic in his calls for reform. While he assures the public he doesn't intend to, quote, ban fast food, Kennedy has made it clear that his Make America Healthy Again, or in other words known as MAHA, agenda aims to eliminate harmful ingredients such as yellow 5, food dye, and seed oils, both of which he links to obesity and inflammation. Such proposals have sent shockwaves through the fast food and snack industries, with lobbyists now convening secret meetings to plot their defense. When you start doing this, are you not telling on yourself? Are you not telling on yourself that, yeah, he's right?
Yeah, but there's so much money at stake.
Exactly.
We're going to just go ahead and say the quiet part out loud because
we got to stop this.
I've been placed here by these corporations.
Yeah,
I got to get out here and do my job because they bankrolling me.
Yep. Real Clear Investigations, in collaborations with Lee Fang, has reported that lobbyists from snack food giants, sugary beverage companies, and agribusinesses have been meeting behind closed doors to strategize against Kennedy's agenda. Invariant, a D.C.-based government relations firm representing companies like McDonald's and PepsiCo, issued a memo warning clients of Kennedy's growing influence with the GOP. The memo described MAHA as gaining, quote, momentum among conservative figures and urged clients to prepare for significant battles in Congress and the regulatory landscape. Those initial alarm bells have been a siren among the snack food makers and agribusiness representatives. According to RCI, last Friday, major processed food producers huddled over Zoom to discuss the rise of MAHA and how best to handle Kennedy's recent nomination. Daniel Beck, a participant of the call who represents PepsiCo, makers of Doritos and Captain Crunch, and the corn. And by the way, Mandela, bless her heart, Mandela, she's with the Lord. But the Mandela effect. Have we not always called it Captain Crunch? Is it always been Cap'n Crunch?
Okay, what?
It's Cap'n Crunch. I've always called it Captain Crunch. I'm having a Mandela effect right now. Somebody tell me.
Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch. Is it always been Captain Crunch or has it been Captain Crunch?
Oh, that's a good one, babe.
And the Corn Refiners Association, a trade group for the largest producers of corn-based seed oils, noticed that Congress could limit Kennedy's abilities. Quote, the traditional agriculture and food stakeholders, Beck noted, might look to leverage, the appropriations process to curb what Kennedy is allowed to initiate. Look at that word, allowed to initiate and implement. And let's understand this. What they mean is allowed to take chemicals out of your food. Yeah. Allowed. We can't let him be allowed to take. By the way, y'all seen them. Y'all probably seen the videos where he has 2 boxes of like Fruit Loops and from Kellogg's. And he's got them both sitting there. They have a couple of little different designs on it, but they're both Kellogg's Fruit Loops. One of them is sold in America only. The other one is sold all around the world. He flips it over, and he's got multiple different items that he uses. He flips them over and shows you the ingredients. The ingredients for the ones that sold around the world are about that big. The ingredients that sold in America are that big. And it is item after item after. He puts McDonald's fries up there. He says, let me show you the ingredients of McDonald's fries in America. and McDonald's fries in all these other countries. Completely different. One of them is potatoes, the oil, and something else, and salt. This one over here is multiple chemicals. Same McDonald's organization, same McDonald's French fries, completely different. So that is what they're saying. We can't allow him to come in and stop us.
No. He's going to disrupt our business model. Yeah. And they're saying that it was not Captain.
That's not true. Y'all are all wrong. Every one of you. Every one of you's wrong. It's Captain Crunch. It's Captain Crunch. I don't believe we're in a different timeline. This is a different timeline, saying this is a Captain Crunch timeline. I was raised in the Captain Crunch timeline. I don't know what happened.
You were in the Captain Crunch.
Something shifted somewhere, and my timeline changed.
The Berenstain and the Berenstain Bears and the Jif and Jiffy and all that other stuff.
What is it? People think it was called Jiffy peanut butter, but it's always been called Jif. Is that right?
Something like that.
I don't believe that either.
Depends. It's the Mandela effect.
I didn't really follow Depends. I never was somebody that followed Depends, but yeah. But okay, but let's not forget. It's Thanksgiving week,
yes,
y'all.
It is.
And by the way, first of all, before I show you this next item, don't forget, Thursday night, Thanksgiving, we're going to have a special Thanksgiving show here. Yes. Larry and Sandy Ragland, Big Picture Family. We got special guests that are going to be joining us as well. And tomorrow night, we got a special program with one of the greatest men of God, John Smith. And it's my goodness, man, the things that he addresses, y'all, is just crazy. So y'all need to make plans on that.
Definitely don't miss
that. And then, but hope you have a great Thanksgiving. But let's talk about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving inflation, y'all.
Of course.
The cost of a holiday feast is up 24% in the current administration. 24%. Now watch this. A dinner for 10 featuring 12 traditional dishes like turkey, stuffing, cranberries, and pumpkin pie mix will average $58.05 according to an annual survey by the American Farm Bureau Federation. That's up from $46.90 at last Thanksgiving of Donald Trump's first term. The price of a 16-pound turkey is $25.67 on average, up 32%. While consumers are getting much-needed relief after years of elevated retail prices, these grocery bills also reflect some hard conversations around the dinner table for farm and ranch families. Many prices are actually down a bit from last year. The overall price of a holiday feast for 10 is down by 5%. But even that drop in prices is not enough to erase the financial squeeze of the years of runaway prices. Consumers are exhausted from years of inflation, and it will take more than the past 2 years' improvement to ease the pain. Now, look at this chart here. Pumpkin pie mix, 22% increase. Milk, 1 gallon, 4.2. Carrots and celery, 15%. Rolls, y'all, rolls, 56% increase in the last 4 years.
Huge jump.
It's huge.
You got to have bread. You got to have rolls.
Rolls have gone up 56% in the last 4 years. Pie shells, 40%. Yeah. Green peas, 18.5%. Whipping cream, 4%. And cubed stuffing, 45.2%, y'all. It's going to cost you a lot more money to eat at Thanksgiving. What are y'all doing to cut the budget? Tell us in the live chat in the comment section.
I'm sure they're eating less.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what do you substitute for turkey? Do you just like make a ham sandwich instead of getting a ham? You just go get some processed ham, all those chemicals.
It's tough.
It is tough. It's expensive.
You're just taking the hit is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe knocking off the pumpkin pie, which is really hard to do. I mean, we only eat it once a year.
True.
You gotta have it.
I don't eat it once a year.
I know.
I don't eat no pumpkin pie. Blech. I mean, y'all might like it, but I don't do. Oh, look here. I like what Ricky says. He said, I get wild turkeys. And he's not talking about the wild turkey drink. He's talking about the turkeys in his backyard, because I know Ricky. They're all over the place in Kentucky. Just get you a wild turkey. Yeah. Not get some wild turkey. Get a wild turkey.
Yeah. I'll tell you what it should do. If it's not, it should make us all thankful.
Yeah.
And really reflect on what the day is. The food's great. We all love and look forward to the food. But what we need to do is concentrate on the gift that we have of our family and our friends, our country.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you might be eating a turkey sandwich or just a ham sandwich
That's
at
true.
some point if things keep going the way they're going.
And we're laughing and all this, but we also understand the seriousness. There are people that are watching this right now
Yes.
live and on the replay that can't afford a turkey. They can't afford that.
It's just
And-
too
and,
big
it's-
and daunting.
Yeah.
To try to pull this off, which is why it's important to try to come together
And
with
churches,
other people.
we need the churches to step up. I'm thankful that our church has always provided Thanksgiving meals for certain families and
people in
Angel
need,
Tree,
right.
people in need.
Yes.
So if you are struggling, we're praying for you. But like
Yes.
Sandy said, even what really makes Thanksgiving special is not turkey and dressing. It's when you're able to be with your family,
Absolutely.
and you can think and be reflective of
Yes.
hey, I'm still here. These parts of my family are still here. You may have lost some people.
Yes.
We have,
Yes.
but we still are thankful for the ones that we still have.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, Uncle Jimmy.
Uncle Jimmy!
Yeah, he's coming in, y'all.
Oh, yes, he is.
Uncle Jimmy!
'Cause it's
It's
the Supernatural AI Update. Yeah.
Never gets old. I
Well,
mean, that's
it might get a little old, but
No.
this is the Thanksgiving special Supernatural.
That's true. That's
AI
true.
update. So
This
you will
is-
like it.
You will like it. This is video gold, y'all. This one day we're going to get nominated for an Emmy. And I'm gonna say I want to thank all these. I want to thank Uncle Jimmy.
I want to thank my Uncle Jimmy. He's been a good uncle to me.
Oh, good old Uncle Jimmy. Well, this is not exactly about aliens and everything, but remember, it's a supernatural AI update. So this is also about AI. But y'all, we've been covering this, and more they're saying it. Watch this. Data centers, look at this headline.
Mm-hmm.
Powering artificial intelligence will use more electricity than entire cities.
Larry, it's so important. Everybody got to sacrifice. You've got to understand.
What happened to climate crisis? When we're funding this, nobody cares about this? Nobody cares about this?
This is becoming a big part of our show. It's
Yeah,
becoming a big
exactly.
part of the news cycle. I'm hearing and seeing more stories about how much electricity it's going to take
Yeah, exactly.
to power
They're buying nuclear plants. Let's not forget that.
or leasing them so they can. It's wow, it's crazy.
All right, so the power needs of artificial intelligence and cloud computing are growing so large that individual data center campuses could soon use more electricity than some cities and even entire U.S. states, according to companies
Okay.
developing the facilities.
Stop. Read that one or
Okay,
two sentences again. Everybody listen.
Okay.
There'll be a test later.
The power needs of AI and cloud computing is growing so large that individual data center campuses could soon use more electricity than some cities, and even some entire U.S. states.
Okay, I have
according
to
to companies developing the facility.
add one thing before you read the rest of this. You know, it hasn't been that long, and seriously, it has not been that long since nuclear power was the bane of our existence.
Exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
we've got to have it to survive.
Yeah, exactly. And the ultra liberal anti-nuclear people are now saying we need nuclear. We need nuclear.
Wow,
Okay.
we're in the upside down.
Yeah. So the electricity consumption of data centers has exploded along with their increasingly critical role in the economy. And that's key. That's why they're not trying to stop them, because they know this is the future of the economy.
Mm-hmm.
In the past 10 years, housing servers that provide or power the application businesses and consumers rely on for daily tasks. By the way, it's not just AI. It's like Dropbox, all the cloud. The cloud.
Yes.
They're saying not just AI, but just putting things in the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the advent of artificial intelligence, data centers are growing so large that finding enough power to drive them and enough suitable land, think about this too, not just power, but suitable land to house them, will become increasingly difficult. The facilities could increasingly demand a gigawatt or more power. That's 1 billion watts, or about twice the residential electricity consumption of Pittsburgh last year, for a whole year. Technology companies are in a, quote, race of a lifetime to global dominance. President of Lyceum, a company that secures land and power for data centers in Texas, quote, it's frankly about national security and economic security. They're going to keep spending because there's no more profitable place to deploy capital. Renewable energy alone will not be sufficient to meet their power needs.
No, it will not. I have two things to say if I can bust in on you right here. Number one, if you had any question or doubt that there was this control system forming, we talk a lot about programmable, controllable. You should have the picture should be taking shape for you by now that they intend to control every asset of every facet of your life.
Absolutely.
My second thing is this. At what point, with all of our efforts to get nuclear power up, to power all of this beast, this system that they're trying to get up and fully operational, is everything that we can do not enough, and we need the aliens to bring their blue energy to power everything for us? I can see it. It's clear as day. That day's coming.
That is absolutely coming. That's why you need to watch that episode with L.A. Marzulli, because we talk about.
You need to watch the episode anyway, but yeah.
Anyway, but that's what he's talking about. The rollout, the disclosure is that we are quickly escalating to the point that the world is going to need to introduce an alien savior to stop all the wars, the climate, going to give us unlimited energy, all of that.
Yeah, we need all your answers to all of our problems.
Yeah. So, but look, this might be a little funny news article, but it's not funny at all. It's because I don't really know that much about Pokemon. Okay, some of you know about Pokemon, but watch this. This is a news that you need to know about, because if it's doing it in this app, it's doing it everywhere. Pokemon Go, which is one of the most popular apps in the world, has been found to be using your phone's camera, listen to this, to build a CIA-backed 3D geospatial map AI system for augmented reality and surveillance. Niantic, the parent company that owns the popular mobile app Pokemon Go, a game that collects players search and collect virtual Pokemon characters in the real world, recently admitted that they have been gathering an incredible amount of information from users' phones to build a large geospatial model to achieve spatial intelligence, collecting highly detailed data that would not otherwise been collected except when players gave them access to every nook and cranny. But here's the key thing. It says that in 2016, they exposed how it was founded, who funded it, and then it goes on to say, if I can get down to here, it says In-Q-Tel is a capital firm of the CIA. Okay, this is a company that was named after the eye in the sky military satellites. One of the key early backers of Keyhole was a firm called In-Q-Tel, and this was a partner with the development of Pokemon. So it goes on to say that when you put all this together, the CIA has been using an integral part of this, of Niantic Labs company that was founded inside Google. Look how they're all tied together for this app. And here we are after all these years later. This was founded in 2004. All you that's been using Pokemon Go, and you've been having all this because it's based on where your location is. You've been helping the CIA develop a pattern and a map of our world, and inside your house, inside your place of employment. Wow. It's just crazy.
Well, I think my Roomba does the same thing.
It does.
Maps my house out.
I got one more. I got one more. So you ready for one more? But before we go one more, let's say all you got to do is go to LarryRagland.com, LarryRagland.tv. Either one's going to take you there. If you'd like to partner with us, some of you like to mail, old-fashioned snail mail, go ahead and mail it in P.O. Box at 9489 Birmingham. If you'd like to support us, we appreciate it. By the way, our partners have made all this available. We got our new cameras. We love our new studio. It's such a blessing. You can do a one-time gift. You can become a partner with us. Several have become partners. Thank you for the super chats that came in tonight. Yes. We appreciate it, and all the super thanks that are going to come in on the replay. Please contact us. And I want you to know that I know it's been crazy. I want to tell you, I've promised this. I haven't done it. It takes me a little time to develop a database. But if you have messaged me about becoming an admin to help us monitor our live chat, I'm going to be reaching out to you, and some of these things may start at the beginning of next year. But I'm really going to start building a big picture team, because we got a feeling 2025, the big picture is going to blow up. We're really thankful of what God is doing in our lives and the people that God has put before us. So you're helping us make that possible. So our last final thing, you've already gave away the Golden Chicken Award, but you may want to bring it back one more time.
Goodness, please.
Because now here's what AI has done. AI has now become Jesus.
Yeah.
We now have
Nobody could have ever predicted that.
No. But watch this. Not only has it become Jesus, AI Jesus is now taking confessions at obviously a Swiss Catholic church. Some churchgoers describe a spiritual experience within the confessional booth, though others labeled it as a gimmick. You think? AI Jesus, Deutsch in Maschina, Deutsche Maschina, was installed in Peter's Chapel in Lucerne, Switzerland, of all places. Switzerland, which, by the way, don't forget, January of 2025 is the World Economic Forum.
And we can't release any information at this moment. We may have a little inroad.
Yes.
A little bit of excitement.
We may actually have, if it works out, an on the ground in Davos reporter.
Maybe.
That will be reporting back to the big picture. Y'all pray that this happens. Working on something right now that would be incredible. The next best thing to going to Davos and covering ourselves is to have a friend that is on the ground at Davos, sticking microphones in people's faces and maybe jumping over to the side and giving an update to the big picture.
So look, be praying about that. Pray for that. That can work out.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back to the AI Jesus. A small chapel in picturesque Swiss town of Lucerne has installed an AI Jesus that allows parishioners to confess their sins to a digital version of the Son of God. The multilingual bot has been placed within the confessional booth of Peter's Chapel with a, quote, heavenly hologram projected behind the latticed opening. The creators of the Dos Emotiona project say it is an experimental art installation aimed at exploring spirituality in the context of artificial intelligence. It says it encourages critical reflection on the limits of technology in the context of religion. The encounter with AI Jesus and the supporting program are intended to encourage critical engagement with AI. 2/3 of the people who used the AI Jesus confessional booth said they had a spiritual experience. Well, look at there. Wow. Though one described it as a gimmick. Only one. Only one. Some of the churchgoers interviewed by DW said they found inspiration and comfort through talking to AI Jesus. Quote, he was able to reaffirm me in ways of going about things, and he helped me with questions. How do they know he's a he? Of course, we know Jesus was a he, but how do we know this one?
Right.
He says, like better, I can help other people to understand him better and come closer to him, said one woman. And he goes on to say, another said, I was surprised. It was so easy. And though it was a machine, he gave me such good advice, also from a Christian point of view. I felt taken care of, and I walked out really consoled.
Wow.
By AI Jesus.
Well, I'm just going to have to add that you'd probably be safer with an actual priest, because they're probably just cataloging everything everyone says with plans to use it against you in the future.
What about this? What about this? Forgive me, AI, for I have sinned. How many hell AIs do I need to do today? I'm not mocking. But then the AI goes, Larry, I can't forgive you, Larry. It's like 2001. It's like, what was the guy's name in the movie 2001? He calls his name. I can't think of his name now. He's like,
Hal 3000.
Yeah, but what was it? The guy who's talking? Dave goes in for confessional.
Can't do that, Dave.
Dave, I'm sorry. I know the truth, Dave.
Yeah.
I know what you did, Dave.
Yeah.
I saw you, Dave, when you did that. And Dave, no forgiveness for you, Dave.
Wow,
no forgiveness for you.
You just crossed all.
I just took Seinfeld.
You just took the soup Nazi and mixed him in with.
No forgiveness for you.
Listen, forget about
no forgiveness for you.
The original is best. You just need a little Jesus, okay?
Oh, yeah,
you just need a little Jesus.
You need a Jesus, but not an AI Jesus. You need the real Jesus.
Real Jesus.
If you don't know the real Jesus, you need the real Jesus.
Yes.
Well, Sandy, in just a few hours, we'll be eating turkey with the family, and it'll be Thanksgiving. We'll be here with our things. By tomorrow night, we got Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night shows here, so we'll see you then. But until then, we want to remind you.
That's right.
We'll bring him out.
Cousin Cosmo.
Wait a minute. What happened to it?
What happened to
Wait a minute.
Cosmo?
Wait a minute. We're not a green screen.
You should not.
Hang on a second.
He's disappearing into the wall.
Wait a minute.
He only wanted to say bye to everybody.
There he is.
Thank you.
All night long, we've had that on there, and I didn't even know it. He's back. He just
wanted to say bye.
Wait a minute. Wait before he goes. He's crossing dimension.
He's crossing dimension. But seriously, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We love you all. We're praying for you. Please pray for us and pray for our country.
Yeah, we love you guys, really. You are our family, and we appreciate everything that you do for us, your prayers. Yes. We are excited about this holiday season. We're excited about next year, excited about the future. We're not living in darkness. We're living in this. God has brought us to the kingdom for such a time as this. Yes. And we love you, and we want to remind you that we ain't woke. Oh, we are certainly awake. God bless you.
Would you like to help us build the big picture family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.